Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. So the first college football playoff committee rankings came out, and they had Cincinnati ranked as 6th. Georgia was number 1, I believe. Alabama 2. Michigan State and who was the fourth team? Who was the fourth team? It was Michigan State and Oregon. Excuse me. That's right. So Oregon is 4th. Michigan State is 2nd. 4th. Michigan State is 3rd. And Cincinnati is 6th. And so when I see stuff like that, what that immediately tells me is that they have no desire to put Cincinnati into the college football playoff. Because by putting them 6th and giving them a couple teams to jump over, that means there's opportunity for teams to jump over them if those teams in front of them lose. Hopefully you're following me. So if Alabama were to lose, could another one-loss SEC team then jump into the top 4, thereby replacing Alabama with the same thought process, the same logic? Well, they play in the SEC. That's the toughest competition. They didn't play in the championship game because Alabama made the championship game. Ipso facto, you get where I'm going with this. Could another one-loss team jump in over and claim the spot based off of strength of schedule? For instance, if Michigan State loses, could Ohio State then jump into that area over Cincinnati? Because if Michigan State continues to win and Ohio State continues to win, they'll play each other in a championship game that would then put Ohio State as a one-loss Big Ten champion. So the way that they've set up this thing, by putting Cincinnati at 6, they've essentially left the door wide open for every single team behind them to be able to jump them. Oklahoma, they go undefeated. How do you leave an undefeated Big 12 team out? How do you leave a one-loss Big 10 champion out? We haven't even talked about Wake Forest yet, who's just been ho-hum going along about their business and is undefeated in the ACC. If they run the table, because my friend Chris James brings up a great point. He says that they don't care about Cincinnati because the AAC isn't putting money into this thing. Those Power 5 teams are the ones who are putting money into this playoff, and therefore they don't want somebody else coming from the outside taking the money away. And that makes perfect sense. So I guarantee you the ACC loses their mind if an undefeated ACC team doesn't make the playoffs. And here, this is what happens when you don't just make things black and white. This is what happens when you bring in people and you say, oh, well, give us the best 4 teams. Because now you have to rely on their eyes to tell you who the best 4 teams are. And my argument is always the same. Why are we trying to find the best 4 teams? Why don't we just find the 4 most deserving? And if you do that, everything probably works itself out. Hey, you know what? Ohio State, your one loss to Oregon matters more. You want to know why your one loss to Oregon matters more? Because you're Ohio State. And they're Oregon, and no offense, even though this ridiculously stupid committee put them into the top 4, everybody with eyes can see they're not a top 4 team. Not at all. Ohio State's the only quality win they have. And since then, they have some really ugly wins to some really bad teams. Why are they in the playoff? Because they beat Ohio State. So if they're only in the playoffs because they beat Ohio State, isn't it fair to say that if they did not beat Ohio State, they would be nowhere near the playoffs? So why are they there? Why are they there? Michigan State has had a great season. But outside of Michigan, who have they really beat that was good? Please don't tell me Wisconsin. Because they're not good. They both played Indiana. Michigan State struggled. Cincinnati did not. Cincinnati beats Notre Dame. Isn't beating a one-loss Notre Dame on par with beating a one-loss Michigan? Yes. So what are we talking about? I could make an argument that the AAC as a conference has been just as good as the ACC as a conference this year. I could make that argument. I could make the argument and say that the bottom of the AAC has been bad, the same way I can look at the ACC and say that the bottom has been bad. But this isn't even an AAC-ACC conversation because the ACC is not even represented, and they have an undefeated team. Take the same record that Wake Forest has against the same teams that Wake Forest has played, and give that schedule and that record to Clemson, and tell me they're not in the top 4. Give that same schedule and that same record to North Carolina, and tell me they're not in the top 4. Give that same schedule and that same record to Florida State, Miami, and tell me they're not in the top 4. So why isn't Wake Forest in the top 4? Because they're Wake Forest. Where's the cachet in that? That ain't sexy. Because it's Cincinnati. Where's the cachet in that? That's not sexy. Cinderella doesn't exist in college football. And so you know what that tells me? That tells me that this relationship is over. If teams like Cincinnati can't put together a season like they put together 2 years ago, then follow it up with a season like they put together last year, and then follow it up with an undefeated season, that is 3 straight years of showing that they are an elite level program at the FBS level. If that 3-year run does not get them the cachet to say, we believe that this is one of the top 4 teams in the nation, because we already know they're deserving. If that doesn't get them the cachet to say this is one of the top 4 teams in the nation, then what will? Nothing. There is nothing Cincinnati can do outside of joining the ACC or the Big Ten that will allow them to be able to have a chance at getting to this level. And I say a chance because, once again, Wake Forest is sitting there undefeated and not even close to being a qualifier. So how can we even think about What's going on? Like all of these teams, by the way, all of you teams on the FCS level that are thinking about going to the FBS level, what are you going there for? What's the purpose? Because I can tell you for certain, if your purpose is not, oh, well, I want to win a national championship, then you're going for the wrong reason. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. FCS teams, if you're not winning championships, plural, at the FCS level, why are you jumping to FBS? If your basketball team isn't competing at that level, if your football team isn't competing at that level, why jump? James Madison, what are you planning to do at the FBS level? Are you going to just be like Liberty? Because that's what it's going to be. You're going to be another Liberty, where even though you're a Division I team, they're still not going to show you any type of grace. They're not going to give you any type of credit when you beat a Power 5 team. And you know why they're not going to give you any credit? Because if they give you credit, that puts their money at risk. And clearly, this is a money game. Because if Cincinnati can't get into the top 4 with their record and the teams that they've beaten, when people are talking to me about how they won a game, because now style points matter again. Style points didn't used to matter. Now style points matter again for Cincinnati. Style points don't matter for any of those other teams that are in the SEC. You win, you're in. Style points matter for Cincinnati, but they don't matter for Michigan State. Just as long as they're winning, it doesn't matter if it's not in dominant fashion. As long as they're winning, that's all that matters. And this is not a diss on Michigan State. This is not a diss on Oregon. Again, if you put their best win up, Oregon's best win is beating Ohio State. Michigan State's best win is beating Michigan. Cincinnati's best win is beating Notre Dame. To me, because that is what everyone has said, those are all 3 top-level teams, right? Supposedly. Notre Dame was just in the college football playoff not too long ago, right? Ohio State's a perennial college football playoff favorite. Michigan is a brand. They're having a fantastic season. Michigan State got lucky and beat them. Cincinnati has not gotten lucky and beat anybody this year. Have they dominated every single team? No, but who can? They've been dominating them for 3 years and you didn't pay any attention. But when they had a chance against Georgia, right? When they had the chance against Georgia, did they or did they not show up? Did they or did they not show up? That's what you got to ask yourself. When they had a chance to play, UGA in the bowl game, in the Peach Bowl, just at the beginning of this year, the score was 24-21, and Georgia needed a 14-point fourth quarter comeback in order to win. They were losing 21-10 in the fourth quarter. They needed 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter in order to beat Cincinnati, who was 9-1 in that year, and got a Peach Bowl invitation. So now Cincinnati follows up that 9-1 season, undefeated, with that close loss to Georgia, and they still can't get a look. You're not even going to give them a chance by saying, hey, we'll put them in and we'll see if they play themselves out. Nope. You just said, let's not even put them in. That way we have reason to jump people over them. I know the hustle. It's awful. It's time. This relationship is over. Group of 5, you guys need to band together and start petitioning for your own championship. Stop trying to play that game. This is college athletics. It's okay to make another championship. Power 5 champion, Group of 5 champion, FCS champion. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Talk Spicy. I'm Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Until next time, peace.